Hi, I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and editor-in-chief at Cybercrime magazine. I'm here today with Ashley Rose, founder and CEO at Living Security, a scalable online platform that delivers game-changing cybersecurity education and training through unique and fun storylines and mini-games. To learn more about Living Security, visit livingsecurity.com. Welcome, Ashley. Great to have you with us again.
Great to be back, Steve.
So Ashley, before we get started, last year, Living Security produced one of the most talked about events in the industry, and we really needed it. I mean, it was right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. I sat in Breaking Security Awareness, or BSA 2020. Tell us about that before we jump in today.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, BSA was really our response to the pandemic. You know, prior to COVID, we were all over the place, almost every city that you could possibly imagine, reaching the audience, reaching the market, sharing thought leadership through in-person events. And then obviously with everybody work from home and not traveling, we needed to wait a way to reach people. So for us, really like the pandemic had accelerated a lot of things that we were already doing. And we wanted to continue that conversation. It was super successful, as you mentioned. We had close to 1,000 registrations and participants. So it was like the biggest security awareness conference that had ever taken place, which was awesome for our first one. I think the average viewership was somewhere around 2+ hours, which is phenomenal for an online event specifically. And then I think for us, looking back and as we planned this one, just recognize that the content was on point. Like it was just really speaking to people. We had things like gamification with Yu Kai Chow. We talked about learning diversity. We talked about real stories of social engineering. And then, Chris Nickerson, of course, joined us to wrap us up to talk about the future of awareness. So I think just that everything really resonated with people, and it was a fantastic event.
So the name is perfect, Breaking Security Awareness. You're doing it. You're telling CISOs and security leaders to do it and security awareness managers to do it. But what do you mean for people who aren't familiar?
Yeah, so the way that we as an industry have been doing security awareness, which is really checking a box, isn't working anymore. And so I wanted to name the conference Breaking Security Awareness because it's really about breaking the old mindset of the way that we think about tackling people, the human risk side of cybersecurity. So we have been really, talking to our customers and really taking the industry on a journey with us, starting with our escape rooms and then obviously over to our online training platform with a focus on engaging employees and empowering them to make better security decisions to reduce risk. So for us, like the next phase in our journey is leveraging data to better understand human risk so that we can effectively measure and then manage it. And so as we push forward to BSA 2021, we're actually using Breaking Security Awareness as an opportunity to move beyond security awareness to what we're calling human risk management.
So BSA 2021 is coming soon. We're going to, start sharing that with our audience. We're excited about it. I plan to go again this year. So it's June 24th for anyone who's listening. Ashley, what's the same and what's different from BSA 2020 to this year?
Well, some of our favorites are definitely coming back this year. David Sparks' CISO series was one of the all-time favorites from our conference last year. Very interactive session, a lot of fun. So they're coming back. Chris Nickerson, his talk was extremely well received, and we realized we did not give him enough time. He's a phenomenal speaker. So he's going to come back, and we're expanding on his time this year. And then as I mentioned earlier, it's really all about the journey. So for this year, we're actually deep diving areas around human psychology and a positively designed security culture, and then bringing in more hot topics to the forefront. Things like ethical phishing programs and diversity in cybersecurity. And then last, what I really wanted to do was up-level the conversation to the executive level. So talking about, CISO's voice in boardroom, gaining more budget and approvals around your enterprise cybersecurity program. So, really excited. I think we've seen a lot of change this year and a lot of movement. So it's really time to take it to the next step.
So last year, I was really impressed with the people that you brought in, the speakers. This year, you have some great people. Kelvin Coleman, a lot of people know him, the executive director at the National Cybersecurity Alliance. Who else do you have this year?
So we are very honored to be bringing in some of the industry's really greatest thought leaders to BSA last year. Really there's too many to name, but I'll kind of give you a sneak peek, and most of them are up on our website as well. So along with Kevin Coleman and Chris Nickerson, as I mentioned earlier, we have Janan Budge, who is the principal analyst at Forrester on security and risk. We've got Jimmy Sanders from Netflix Information Security and the director at ISSA. We've got Wolf, we've got Olivia Rose, we've got Brian Markham, Damon DePaulo, really well-known CISOs and security leaders from a lot of top companies, obviously in this space. And then we also brought in some other kind of participants and vendors and people that are sharing and promoting the same message as Living Security. So we've got Yael Nagler from Yaos Partners, Chris Hadnagy from The Social Engineer, Rachel Toback from Social Proof Security. These are all business owners and thought leaders that, again, are really promoting this message that security is about people.
So you've got an awesome format. I love the rapid fire sessions. Tell people, what actually happens that day. I remember last year I thought, wow, that's a lot of time, a whole day. But really it wasn't. You just kind of flew through because content was great. So what happens that day?
Yeah. So we are opening it up with a keynote, of course, a couple keynotes, and then we're really going to turn it up from there with those rapid fire 10-minute sessions, like you mentioned, with some Q&A. Just to keep people going, keep people moving. And then we'll make it interactive with our CISO series with David Spark. And then last, we're wrapping it up with a couple of closing keynotes with Janan and then Chris Nickerson. So it does, a whole day sounds like a lot of time. But what I learned last year is that people really could not get enough. And we never really had enough time to get as in depth as we really wanted to. So actually something we started this year a couple of months ago was we kicked off our Breaking Security Awareness webinar series. And what that's been, it's been phenomenal, a ton of participation and engagement. We've had actually hundreds of people over the last 3 sessions attend, but really it's an opportunity for us to take, BSA Con as the starting place and then use each individual webinar to go deeper, to talk, bring in more concepts, bring in more thought leaders, and just keep the conversation going year round.
So I know you're great, a lot of thought leadership. You don't like to talk too much about the company, but you have to because we want people to know about the story. Living Security is really hot right now. You raised venture capital in the past year. Just give us sort of an update, what's happened over the past year at the company.
Well, what hasn't happened, right? Tremendous growth through 2020. I think we're here, halfway through 2021 now, and that's continued. COVID really accelerated our digital efforts with our training platform and online team training. We more than doubled our customer base. We closed our Series B earlier this year, as you mentioned, back in March, which was actually only 12 months after our Series A. So, really quick turnaround from a growth perspective. We're really expanding our platform right now. We're adding a new data and risk quantification product called Unify to our offering. And Unify uses end user behavioral data to calculate risk and then provides proactive interventions back to employees. So what I'm really excited about is, with teams and then training and now Unify, we're able to offer our customers an end-to-end human risk management solution that's really driven to provide proven lasting change in behavior and measurable risk reduction for the business. So lots going on and a lot more to happen even through the rest of 21.
So Ashley, we have a lot of Fortune 500 CISOs, Global 2000 CISOs who follow us. They don't get down in the weeds. They have, teams who work for them and they manage security awareness. But at a very high level, what is it about Living Security that's unique insofar as the vendors and what's really becoming a crowded space now? A lot of, new companies coming in, the market's growing very quickly. If you had to, single out just one thing.
Yeah, so our biggest differentiator is our focus on proven lasting change in behavior. We definitely can check that compliance box for you, but we know that's ultimately not what's going to reduce risk. And so for us, I'll break it down into, three things that all really form together for proven lasting change. But it's really the content, data, and delivery. We have the highest quality content in the space. It's live action, Hollywood style. It's super diverse, micro learning modules, and it really makes people want to be engaged. And we focus on the why, not just the what in our training. And then the data and delivery really go together. So, instead of that one size fits all, our platform allows our program owners and our security leaders to see what's actually going on in our environment. Who is the most at risk, and around what concepts, categories, kind of what type of assets that they have interaction with. So instead of one size fits all training one time a year, the platform gives you a tremendous, quantity and quality of content that you can then target to areas and actually move the needle, actually reduce risk, and then prove it through reporting. So hard to narrow down to one, but it's all wrapped around that idea that we need measurable, lasting change in risk reduction.
So you and I were talking offline before our last interview about a year ago. Actually our first interview. And I asked you about Living Security and, where are you going with the company and, what does the next year look like? And at the time you told me that you were going to double the customer base. And I thought, wow, that's a daunting challenge because you already were growing very quickly at that point. So, what does 2022 look like? Where are you taking Living Security?
Yeah, I mentioned the launch of Unify. So that's a huge initiative for us this year. Happy to say that we already have a number of companies already signed up to be working with us on our Unify platform. They've joined us as design partners in bringing this product to market. So a lot of big news and big announcement to come really in the next quarter, which is not 22, it's still 2021, obviously. But with Unify and then teams and training, as I mentioned, we really believe that we have the best end-to-end human risk management solution for organizations to reduce human cybersecurity risk. And so it's all about how do we reach more employees, more businesses, and more geographies. I'm really excited about building a global company that's focused on making an impact and breaking security awareness in an effort to build a safer and more secure world. So a lot to come. Hopefully that gives casts a little bit of a vision on where we're going. But expansion is what we're looking at in the next year and a half or so.
Right. And I think you're looking at moving your offices. Is that right?
We are. This is actually really exciting. So now that, especially in kind of the southern states and Texas, we're seeing a lot of, from an employee's perspective, a lot of interest in, breaking outside of their home and coming, collaborating with the team and with the employees. We have actually our engineers in this week from all over the U.S. They flew in for an all hands, which I love. It's super exciting to see everyone. But with that, we needed to get a bigger space. Along with doubling our customers, we also doubled our team in the last 12 months. So we are moving downtown Austin. We should be moving in probably by the end of July. So coming up really soon. And I'm also really excited because as our customers start traveling and getting back out, love to be able to host more people in office and even being able to reach out to the cybersecurity community in Austin and host meetup groups and bring people together. So really enjoying this time and really enjoying this phase of growth for the company.
Well, Austin's a great city. I love it there. So, now maybe you'll recruit us to come in and film you there.
I would love that. You definitely need to get down here.
All right. So it's a plan for this year. So before you go, Ashley, any final words about Breaking Security Awareness or BSA 2021? And also just tell us where people go to register.
BSA 2021. So we still have our website, breakingsecurityawareness.com. That will take you over to our Living Security's website. It'll give you, full agenda, all of the speakers. It'll give you an opportunity to actually preview last year's sessions, as well as the Breaking Security Awareness webinar series that we've been doing the last few months. So really, not much else to say. You won't want to miss it. It's going to be a great event.
Great. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on with us. We're excited about the event, and we'll catch up with you soon in Austin.
Thanks, Steve. Sounds great.
Thank you. I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and editor-in-chief at Cybercrime Magazine. Visit us on the web at cybercrimemagazine.com. Joining us today was Ashley Rose, founder and CEO at Living Security, a scalable online platform that delivers game-changing cybersecurity education and training through unique and fun storylines and mini-games. To learn more about Living Security, visit livingsecurity.com.